Welcome to another episode of Icon Presents. Joining me today is an amazing singer and songwriter here to talk to us about his newest project and performing for us his first single titled Everywhere in Between. Ladies and gentlemen, Icon Presents Angel Rene.
You're the hour that won't pass, 'cause you're an infinite hourglass. You're the top and the bottom, summer, spring, winter, autumn. You're at the start and the end. Where do I begin? You're in the walls that cover me, in pillars of love. You're somewhere above and somewhere beneath. You're at the front, get back on the seam, 'cause you're at the start and end, and everywhere in between. You're my hello and my goodbye. You're my good morning and good night, and everlasting white. You're in the red, yellow, and green. You brought in chapters to make the author clean, 'cause you're the lock and the key, the knocking that's unlocking me. You're in the walls that cover me, in pillars of love. You're somewhere above and somewhere beneath. Oh, you're at the front, get back on the seam, 'cause you're at the start and end, and everywhere in between. You're everywhere in between. You're everywhere in between. You're everywhere in between. You're everywhere in between. 'Cause you're in the walls that cover me, in pillars of love. You're somewhere above and somewhere beneath. You're at the front, get back over the sea, 'cause you're at the start and end, and everywhere in between. You're everywhere in between.
Welcome, Angel Rene. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. First off, let me say that was an amazing performance.
Thank you.
That song was called Everywhere in Between, right?
Everywhere in between.
Give me a little bit about that story. Give me your process on that.
Yeah, so I wrote it last spring. There was a phrase. What was that phrase? It was whatever is has already been,
Okay.
and whatever will be has been before. And hearing that, it sort of like brought about this sort of curiosity about time and our relationship to it. And yeah, man, like I wrote this song just about our relationship to time and how, like, in a way, like it's this ubiquitous thing that it's like until we run out of it, we always have more of it. And it's like always around us. And we, as like human beings, we like find ourselves reflecting the time that surrounds us through not just how we look in our ages, but also through like culture, the way that we talk, the way that we dress, the way that we think. Right. And so, yeah, time is just like this thing that's everywhere. And we as human beings, we find ourselves in it, and it finds itself in us at the front and the back and everywhere in between.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That sounds good, man. It sounds good. Yeah. So that's going to be on your new and first album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Got you. Well, and that project's going to be launching when?
So the single will be released in October. Okay. Super excited about that. And then the record will be released. I'm aiming for spring of 2025.
Now, you said record.
Yeah.
Now, I recall looking at your Instagram.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people, when they say record, they just mean like the album or the work of art, right? The entire piece.
Yes.
But you have a nice record collection.
Yeah.
So, do you plan on actually putting this out on vinyl?
Oh, like records. Oh, shoot. I was like, what is he talking about? Okay, no. So, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know if there's demand for it, but like I don't even know how all that works. I probably could, but
I interviewed I think probably the 4th or 5th episode of this podcast, I interviewed a band called Matte Black.
Okay.
And they released the digital and the regular CDs of their projects, but then they would also have they did a Kickstarter campaign for the records for it.
For sure.
And I mean, if you've noticed anything, walk through a Walmart or anywhere.
Yeah.
The records are,
coming back.
Yeah. Because it has a specific sound that a lot of people are really liking. And we live in a world where everything's so digitized. Yeah. And they don't give you anything physical to collect. Yeah. Whether it be from books and movies and all that kind of stuff. So people like to collect that. Especially when you get the artwork and everything on that. Yeah. Like you got I think I saw you had like the Adele record on your and all that kind of stuff. I'm stupid with anybody's on this show. I always do my research.
Come on. This is true. You have me. I was like, what is he talking about? For sure. Yes. No, I think I know that I'll definitely get one for me. So I always get I try to get a physical copy for me. But yeah, we'll see.
I mean, it has to be exciting to be putting out your first project.
Yeah.
Tell me about what that feels like for you. What's been your journey going into this?
Yeah, so I did music for a little bit of time, but this is like my first like full length record, and I'm rebranding with this album and everything, and I'm so excited. I feel like, man, I feel like this has been like a piece that I've been working on for a real long time, and there's a lot that went into it emotionally, mentally, monetarily, time-wise, a lot of thought, just a lot, man. And it's been really like sort of, I don't know. It's just been so cool playing these songs at shows and like being in the room when like people are like encountering like what I've made and everything, and just seeing the effect that it has and people that resonate with it, and And so I'm excited, man.
I
I've
got you.
been very honored to have really cool people work on the project, friends out in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, man,
Got you.
I'm really, really pumped.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, like Nashville, man. Man, they music capital over there, man. It's crazy. So many of our guests are always having things produced or doing things down in Nashville.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it's great because it's they take music seriously.
Yeah, they do.
There. And so that's always what you want. You want whenever you're attacking some project. I just said it not too long ago. I said, if you're going to do it, might as well do it right.
Yeah.
And so you always want to approach it with that. So, when you take something serious, it comes across to your audience or to your fans for that. And I think that's one of the things that I believe that is missing in media a lot of times these days in entertainment is that as things get more, more mainstream, when people take, I'll give an example to give context to what I'm saying. So you'll take something, let's use Marvel for an example.
Okay.
Marvel these days is not good. It's like everybody looks at their projects with speculation and all that kind of stuff. When you used to have, that's Disney in a whole though. And a lot of times it's just entertainment. That's why movie theaters aren't as doing as well a lot of times these days. Aside from the growth of home theaters and everything, a lot of times it's, hey, I used to be able to go and, Disney was putting out a new movie. You knew it was basically going to be entertaining and everything.
Yeah.
And you had a trust within your audience that was, that it would connect to them no matter what age and all that kind of stuff they were.
Yeah.
As time goes on, they abused that basically, and they lost the trust of their audience. And so you see that reflect in their box office numbers, where if a successful IP such as Inside Out, where the first one was successful, which makes the last one successful, but then they try something new with like a show like Wish, that one, well, from the beginning, and that's the 100th anniversary animation that they put out, and that one flops. And the reason why is that? Because you lost trust in your audience, because you started to play games with them and do other things and didn't take it as seriously. And you lost the respect of the fans. Same thing with Marvel. You have all these comic book, I'll put it this way, comic book nerds, such as myself, that are really big into projects and everything. And even if you call it what a normie is, and just say, hey, I take something like like Captain America or Spider-Man or anybody like that, and you're like, okay, now we're going to do our own spin for it. And most of the time, they'll be like, okay, cool, just stay true to the character. You're like, no, we decided we wanted to bend and break and do all this kind of stuff. And now you've abandoned essentially the fan base that gave you the opportunity to do this in the first place. So that's why I always say, when you take things seriously and you have respect for your fans, and you put that work and effort into it, that it becomes reciprocal. It becomes a reciprocal relationship between you and your audience. So it's like, I feel like I can tell that you take your music seriously. You got, aside from having your whole science lab that you have on top of that.
All the computers.
Exactly. Besides
the beep boop bops.
Exactly.
Yes.
Doing all of that to create a tone and everything for your music that is unique to you. I feel a little John Legend in there. But have a unique to you, it's a great, it's commendable. I'll put it that way. It's commendable.
You,
so tell me, speaking of John Legend, see, like I said,
oh boy.
Yeah, I say,
boy.
I hear that. When you hear that, yeah. When I heard that, I was like, this boy, he's got the John Legend in there.
Oh boy.
Or would you say that? Would you disagree?
No, I mean, I wouldn't not say it. I mean, I do get compared to John Legend a lot.
I got you. Who else would you say inspires you?
Well, inspires me in comparison. Okay, so I don't know, man. I feel like I get inspired by everybody. I'm deeply inspired by Young the Giant, band called Young the Giant.
Okay.
Or just all 2000s alt rock. So The Fray, Keen, One Republic.
Oh, okay.
That camp. But I mean, I'm inspired by everybody these days. I love Madison Cunningham. I love who else? Rufus Wainwright. I love you can be inspired by anyone and anything.
Okay, got you. so okay, got you. I get that. So what about those artists inspires you?
Like all of them at the same time, or
any of them. Any of them. Take Madison.
Madison Cunningham?
Yeah, Madison Cunningham.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not familiar with Madison Cunningham.
Oh, you need to be. Oh, that's a crime.
Okay,
oh
gotcha.
My gosh,
Lock me up.
Yeah. She is like, so my music sounds nothing like hers.
Okay.
But she just breaks every border. Like she's a songwriter, you know? Like I feel like some people are great musicians and they're great producers. And there's like a order that like all those things fall in. And like she's a great guitarist, great singer and everything, but like she's a songwriter. And her songs are so, you just gotta listen, bro.
Alrighty.
You just her songs are so good, man. They're so like, I listen to them and I'm like, wow, this is there's only one of these exists.
Tell you what, I'm going to right here, so y'all see it. I'm going to make note to listen to Madison Cunningham.
Yes, Madison Cunningham, bro. That I am thoroughly convinced she is like one of the best like songwriters of our generation. Hands down.
Okay.
Hands down, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so you got Madison Cunningham.
Yes.
Got you. Now, if we stepped away from the music sphere.
Okay.
And in your journey of creating and, you know, you're about to put out this new project, do you have anybody that you look at now and say, you know, or that's impacting you in your life now, that's encouraging you to push through and keep going, that, you know, put in the work for this project?
Like, who am I inspired by?
Right. Sometimes, you know, our inspirations, you know, you take musicians that are inspired by athletes and scientists that take inspiration from, you know, artists and all that stuff. So, you know, does anybody in your life or, and I'm not, when I say in your life, I'm not referring to like personal relationships and all that kind of stuff, because most of the time we'll always have that, whether it be parents or family members or friends or whatever like that. But I'm talking more so on that level. Do you have a Kobe poster like we do in the hallway that says you like to keep going, give you that Mamba mentality?
You know, man, I feel like everybody has their journey, and I feel like so many people on earth have done like amazing things. Maya Angelou, she's been a huge inspiration for me just because of how dynamic she was as a woman. You know, she was a creative artist. She was also a professor. She was also all these things. And so there's something about being like a well-rounded human being and looking at people like that truly like inspire me. And and so, yeah, I feel like I look to figures like that who kind of do multiple things, you know, like people that are, you know, artists and creatives, but they also like did really well academically, and they have other, like there's more to their humanity. Did
you do it well academically?
I am doing well academically, so I'm in school right now. I mean, I think I got a 4.0. I think that's all right. Yeah, I'm trying to, man. I'm trying.
You want somebody that's going to be excelling in various aspects of their life. Like, I did fairly well academically. There was a point in my life where I kind of started to take a detour. My mom looked at me like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
And then I was like, let me get it back together.
Yeah. I took a 6-year detour, man. I just got back into school last fall.
Oh, man, I took a detour and got married and all that stuff. But then when I was about to have a kid, I was like, I don't want to be like, I wanted to finish school before I had a kid. And so I was like, let me go back, finish up, because I only had like a couple semesters left.
Oh, for sure.
So I was like, let me finish up and then go. Like it lapsed over to when I had my daughter, and then now I got 2 kids. My son keeps me up sometimes.
Come on.
Mainly keeps my wife up, though. I always get up before my wife and go to bed after her. So she'd be like, all right, you stay in bed. So it is what it is, but that's fine. So let's talk about your musical journey. Okay. So give me your roots in music. You were talking to me before. You were saying you came from a family of musicians. Yeah. Give me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't escape it. Like my mom, she was an artist. I mean, she's now an actress. She's very, you know, creative. My dad, he played keys and organ. Uncle played drums. Grandpa played bass. I couldn't escape it even if I wanted to, man.
I got you. Dude, I'm the same way. I grew up in our living room at our house that we were in when I was a little kid. Because we moved a couple of times. What do we call it? That's the old house. You had an old every time you moved.
For sure.
So you go old house.
Yeah.
We had one, and I still remember what that looked like. It had burnt orange carpet.
Okay.
It had the wood paneling walls. It had the whole, like, I don't know, 70s vibe. I don't know if it was 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't know. I was a kid, and I'm sitting there, and my dad, he was producer as well. And his band was working on their first couple projects.
Okay.
And I was a kid sitting on the floor with my cousins, and we were sitting there playing with Power Rangers and toys while our parents were singing and playing instruments and doing all that kind of stuff because the living room was huge. So you had the full band in there. That was life.
Yeah.
And now it sticks with you. Any of your family still doing music?
Oh, now that I think of it, I don't know. I think my uncle may still play drums. I don't know if my dad still plays keys, and I don't think my mom. Well, she still does music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she still does music. Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not super close with a lot of my blood family.
I got you.
But from what I recall, I think I don't know why my uncle would not do music. That was like his like thing. But yeah.
I got you. So what leading up to this project that you're planning on, that you're going to be releasing, kind of what was your mentality going into that project? How did you kind of approach it? Like, okay, this is the statement that I want to make with people.
You know, man, I don't really feel like I think like that when it comes to art. Like, okay. I feel like I don't want to say the word is passive, but I feel like whenever I make songs or whenever I go to make projects, it's kind of like, I feel like they're like given to me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I just listen and then chase them down.
Okay.
So it sort of hits like, the best word that I could say are like downloads. Like I could be in like the store, or I could be like at school or whatever. And then it'll just like hit.
Yeah.
It'll just boom. And I'm like, oh, there it is.
Are you one of those people that when it hits, then you pull out your phone, open up the voice recorder and
gotta chase
start
it down.
doing it?
Yeah. And then with some of those, like eventually everything that I'll write in a season it'll start to show like a theme. And so with this project, I've been writing it since 2021. This album since 2021, and it's been a process, a real emotional process. Just because in it, I feel like I was like listening. I was conflicting with what I wanted to say, but what I needed to say. Because some of those things, sometimes those things clash.
Right.
Especially because like most of like my music, like history was like doing like predominantly very flagrantly Christian stuff. Mm-hmm. And so there was like an agenda that I had going into the art that I wanted, but it just, once I let all that go and I sort of just like allowed, like just go into the studio and just let whatever comes out is whatever is going to come out.
I got you.
It was just liberating in like every way possible. And so I feel like that's what making this album has been about, kind of just allowing things to be what they are and accepting them for what they are.
I feel it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. I get it. That's what, because when you're approaching, when it comes to art, there's a time where you're like, okay, if you overthink things, then it becomes like a struggle session. And it's like, it loses its purity. And it's like, I was on a call the other day with a guy, and we were talking about a new project that he was kind of pitching an idea. We were kind of brainstorming these ideas.
Sure.
And I told him, I said, okay, we understand that when you're creating something, you have a lot of times, especially, you may have a message or overall theme that you want to put in it. Right? Yeah. If it's be a better person or help the homeless or whatever like that, that's your overall message that is in there. But when it comes to something creative, at some point you have to make it entertaining.
You think so?
100%.
Oh, okay.
100%. And I think, and this is primary, and I'm not going to say every bit of creativity. Yeah. I'm talking more so, in this case, this was in regards to a book. And I was like, and it was a fictional book. And I was like, you have to entertain people when it comes to this type of project first, because you entertain people and then add on the message or whatever like that. And that's what transpires and, tells, it can last the tell of time. Going back to your song about time, it's everywhere. It's like it's important because I'll put it this way. I hate to just spend this entire episode ragging on Disney and all that, but it's not just Disney. It's a lot of modern entertainment projects that come out. Now, if I put the message or the overall message that I want to put in the forefront and the creativity in the back, then it becomes too heavy-handed. But if I swap it around to do so, that's where you have timeless characters like Captain America and all these other ones, where it's like, hey, these messages appeal to everybody, no matter what race, gender, cultural background, or anything like that. Everybody can take something from that. But if I'm just going to say, yes, we want to make it so that we're not being racist or whatever like that right off the bat, then you kind of mess up with things. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like I have a different approach.
What's your approach?
Well, just the rules around what things need to do or how things need to, be. I think that comes from something that people like mix. So I feel like there's art, and then there's the practice of selling art, which is the commerce side. So like the agenda and like needing it to do this and needing it to do this to the people or whatever, that I feel like is commerce, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with commerce. But I feel like when I go into making songs now, like I feel like I have like my responsibility to the art is just outside of like it may not sell well, especially in like today's day and age where like music is like you release music, you're a drop in the ocean, bro.
Yeah.
Like, like Spotify, tens of thousands of the stuff like uploaded every day, you know, like consumption is more like accessible than ever. And so like when I go into making art, like my heart is like to make art for art's sake. Like art is the reward for me,
I feel like we're saying the same thing, but you say,
you think so? I feel like we're saying different things.
Nah.
I feel like you're saying, which and let me preface, this is not me saying that what you're saying is wrong, but I feel like what you're saying is when you go into making art, if it's going to say this, it also needs to be creative, or it needs to entertain, or it needs to, and I'm saying that when I go into make art, like if it does those things, cool, but I don't need it to happen. Does that make sense?
I get you.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like if what I played happened to entertain you, then that's wonderful. But I didn't play it to entertain you. I just played it because you asked me to show you a piece of my art, and if it entertains you, great. If not,
I get you, but I feel like you're contradicting yourself.
Really? How so? Okay, tell me. I love it.
So basically, you said that you wanted to make art for art's sake, right?
Yes.
Do that. It's like, hey, I want to make a song because I have a passion for songwriting or whatever like that, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to. I assume you can agree that you want to make a good song.
How do you define good? Good according to who?
According to yourself.
Sure.
Whether or not it's going to be actually a good song, right?
Sure.
Then typically when it comes to a song, my 4-year-old daughter thinks she's a great storyteller sometimes. And her stories go, "Hey Dad, can I tell you a story?" I said, "Sure. There was a boy, then there was a monster. Rawr!"
Yeah.
She thinks that's a story.
I think that's a story.
That's
a great story.
In her mind, that's a story. But there's principles when it comes to storytelling that she's missing in that. That's going to, and if you want to convey that, because I can't think of a single piece of art that has, like, if you're saying, okay, I'm going to, let me see, if I'm going to write a song for, and it's going to have this specific message or whatever like that, like the national anthem.
Yeah.
The national anthem was written with a specific motive or whatever like that in mind.
Sure, of
right?
course, yeah.
And the messaging and everything like that is solid. But that song is also a banger. Like, come on. Like, so
Okay, yeah.
so
banger right on.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So it's like, no, I don't know anybody that like, well, these days people are weird. So I was about to say I don't know anybody that doesn't get inspired by hearing that. But the when you have it's still a good song when it's all said and done. It doesn't follow like a simplistic ABAB type of songwriting structure or whatever like that, but there's elements to it and structurally that it follows as a song that you would still look at and be like, all right, cool, but it does its job, right?
I think we're missing each other. And here's the thing, I don't think it's bad that we disagree. I don't think that's bad at all.
Okay.
I think so. The example of the story with your daughter, right?
Yeah.
So your definition of a great story has components to it.
Mm-hmm.
You have, so your definition of great. And so like, I feel like if you go into all art that way with it needs to have this, it needs to have this, it needs to have this. Sure, it could be, but like all the possibility that lays outside of those rules that you've put on it, like I don't know, like because here's the thing, like our perception of art or our judgment of art or whatever, like good, great, it's just these rules that like don't exist, and it's just
you don't want to put rules on it.
Well,
but there's a standard. There's a standard.
But who's setting the standard, though?
There's reasons why colleges teach these. If there's courses that you could take on storytelling and whatnot.
Sure.
There's a standard for the English language and communicating with people.
Yes.
There's reasons why you have that structurally, how that's supposed to go, right?
Yes.
If you write a letter, you understand, or an email, and how there's a method to how it goes.
Yes.
Now, you follow this structure, but you have the freedom just to kind of do it and make it uniquely yours, but still achieve the overall goal, right? You don't you didn't get on the keyboard and say, you know what? I'm going to play it upside down. You're like, but it sounds good. I play it with my toes instead. Okay,
but
cool.
Even if I did,
if you did, then I'd still think you were weird. But
still, implying that you currently do. No, I get it. All I'm saying is yes. Okay, yes. There are some rules. There's certain things that people tend to do, but I also think we're writing a lot off if we don't accept that the rules were made by us.
100%.
We can break those rules.
100%.
And there's
I agree
a
with
lot that can be
Yes.
really beautiful outside of
100%.
You know,
But I agree with that 100%.
yeah.
Don't ever bind yourself to this has to go this way, this has to go that way.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies is Get On Up, the James Brown it wasn't a documentary, but you get the biopic, James Brown. And one of the things that I absolutely love is when he's talking with I believe it was a saxophone player, or I forget what instrument the guy was talking about, but he wanted them to come in on a specific beat. And the guy said, that's not musically sound. That's not how it's supposed to go. And he's like, if it's music, it's music.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to go. I get that 100%.
Yeah.
So on that element, like, of course, we're not boxing ourselves in saying, hey, to create this, we got to focus, or this song, if you're going to do this, you got to fix it. These are the rules.
Yeah.
No, but there is a basic structure when it comes to things that in rules that basically society has established that, okay, these are the things that make songs. This is the way that songs are not, I won't say structured, but essentially how they're created, that have a universal idea or knowledge. I remember when I took a class in music history, it didn't matter what part of the world you were in. They had a structure or a similar theme or whatever elements to them that made them identifiable, that it will resonate with other people.
Okay. If that works for you, it works for you. I'ma just keep just listening.
You're doing exactly what I'm saying. I say you're doing.
I don't think I am.
Or you created a song, right?
But I didn't go into the studio like.
But you,
it needs to say this to this, and it needs
that's because it's been ingrained in you since you were a kid in the choir, in the church choir. When they were teaching you how to sing in key, that's what you were doing.
But how do you know?
How do you know? It doesn't matter.
You've been watching.
It is. I heard you when you were singing. Yeah, you have a little on your voice a little bit.
I don't know, man. Like I feel like we have all these rules and just all this, and it needs to be like this, and I feel like I'm just trying to approach music, life, like all of it. We're just like, we'll see what happens.
Got you. So we'll give you the illusion that you're not following those rules, even though we know that you are.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, give it to me. Come on. Amen.
I love it. It's like, all right, sure, we're not following the rules. Whatever you want to tell yourself, that's what we're doing.
I have a friend. His name is Peter. He lives in LA. He says the same thing.
Yeah,
because I'll talk like, no, screw those rules. He's like, bro, you're, and I'm like, no, bro, none of those rules. Get that away from me.
It's like, bro, you're doing it. You should.
No, stay away.
No,
away.
No, I'm different. All right, sure. Whatever you want to say. Oh, man, this is great, man. I absolutely love it. All right. So you got your new project.
Damn.
We talked about some of your inspirations and all that. You've been doing music, like I said, since you were a kid, right?
Yeah.
Got you. At some point, I always like to get this bit of information from people.
Okay.
You go through highs and lows throughout your musical journey.
Yeah.
So share that with me. I want to know, in your journey so far, what can you say has been a high point for you? Where you look back and said, oh shoot, I can't believe I did that. Like I did that.
I think finding my producer was a big kind of balls out thing that I was proud of.
Okay.
So I'm working. I mean, he's like a friend of mine now. It feels weird calling him like my producer because he's just a friend. I just love him so much. So his name's Kason Cooley, and I remember I had self-produced a lot of stuff, but when I had finished writing Everywhere in Between, I was like, I really don't want to produce this. Like there was a part of me that was just like, I feel like I'm not gonna grow if I produce it. I need somebody stronger and wiser to do it. And I was like, well, where should I go? How should I? And I was just thinking about, I don't know where to find people. And then I remember it was just one of those download things where I was sitting at my buddy Nick's house on his couch, and I was like, well, if I want to find a producer, I ought to go where the producers are. And that day, like an hour later, I bought a ticket to Nashville. One way was like, I'm just not going to leave until I find the producer.
Okay.
And so enough calls, enough like knocking on doors, friends, parties, meeting. Eventually, there were a couple of friends that I made in Franklin that knew this gentleman named Ben Shive, who produced records for this band called Colony House that I really like.
Okay. And
I played the song for him in his studio. He was like, oh, that's super cool. I'm kind of busy though. But he was like, who else? And I was like, I had heard this song called Sweet Ever After. And I was like, this guy named Kason Cooley, I think he's cool. I heard he's kind of hot right now though. I don't know if he's like, oh yeah, Kason would be great for this. Sent him a text, and then two other friends sent him a text. And we got tacos at Lady Bird and showed him the song, and that was that. And I feel like walking away from that trip, I felt really like proud because I was like, of course, I'm so thankful to God that like it worked out because like that trip could have easily gone another way. Right. I like went and didn't find anyone. It was like a waste. But like the fact that like I was like, dang, I went and I said I was gonna find a producer, and damn it, I found one, you know, and I was kind of like, okay, you know, and so that was something that I feel like recently I was pretty
that's awesome. Finding a solid producer, man, that would change, that pretty much can propel and change your entire career and trajectory when it comes to music. Like
he's wonderful.
so there's this girl that I've recently found that's actually going to join us on the podcast.
Oh,
She's up in Hollywood right now. Her name is Asia Holiday.
Okay.
And my gosh,
Beautiful
that
name.
girl is a amazing singer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, and she's like working on her first album right now as well.
Okay.
And so she goes live every time she's in the studio, and kind of, you just get to kind of eavesdrop in onto like her journey, basically, as every project is coming together and everything, and listening into the producers and everything.
Yeah.
Working with her, I'm like, my gosh, I absolutely love it. The production and that whole process, I'm a fan. Like, as like somebody that's entering into the producer space as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in the engineering game. I'm looking forward. Like, I got some projects in the works and some plans that really puts me in the producer seat, and I'm like, yo, that's gonna be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to take it up to the level that it's like, man, like, I've done podcast producing, and I would say the difference, like, obviously my mom and my dad's an audio engineer and producer, and my mom's a producer as well.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
I've been able to kind of view things and kind of, I guess, take a backseat and watch them as they work, and it's absolutely amazing what you're able to pull up from an artist. And sometimes it reminds me, I don't know, did you ever watch that show Power? Not Power.
I watched Empire.
Empire. That's what I meant.
Come on,
Empire.
Cookie Lion.
Exactly. So
Cookie.
you remember when? You remember at the very very beginning when forget the back
show.
with the bald chick. I forget what her name is. But
Oh,
she was in the studio. She was like, "If I tell you that I love you tonight,"
Yeah.
and
Lucia's like sing it like you're gonna die.
Exactly.
Like you're on the train tracks and a train's about to run over your grandmother. Yeah. All of that.
And then she gives a different type of performance in that, and being able to pull that out. I guess that was a TV show, whatever like that. But I've been in studio sessions where that's like, yo, you're like, oh shoot, man,
that's real.
That's on a different level. Yeah. And a lot of times people look back and they're like, shoot, I didn't even think I had that in them. Yeah, like they didn't think they had them in themselves. I've had people on this podcast after they do the show, and once they do the performance, and then afterwards, after they see everything come together, they're like, shoot, that's me up there. And that's one of those things where it's like, man, I love giving people the opportunity to have that, because it's a unique thing. It's a feeling that I'm sad to say that a lot of people they'll be blocked by because of, like, whether it be self-doubt or various issues or whatever like that in their own lives. Yeah. Where they don't kind of step out that opportunity. Yeah. But I'm grateful for my upbringing that allowed me to kind of get away from that kind of those limitations early in life and kind of push it up. Like I said, I'm a pastor's kid, so we didn't have the luxury of being in the background. Yeah. you were always up front. If anything needed to be done, it was done. But it really shaped us, and kind of made us into, who we are today. Yeah. So we talked about your high point, right? Finding your producer.
That's real, by the way, that point that you just, like, having voices around you that speak into you. I've had way more of those than I deserve. A lot of people have spoken into my life. Like,
that's great.
When I didn't. That's real. So good on you for, like, doing that for others.
Thank you. Yeah. So we talked about a high point. Obviously, when there's highs, there's lows.
No lows.
No lows.
I'm just playing. I'll just give you our time.
Share with us, a low point where you consider, like, hey, maybe this ain't for me. Maybe I should go and be an accountant somewhere or whatever like that.
Oh. Well, honestly, man, like, life just, I've had so many of those moments where I was just, like, done with music, but I can't be done with something that won't be done with me.
I feel it.
And, like, I feel like art, bigger than art, bigger than music. Like, I feel like my life is like, it's on a path, and it's been on a path since I was, like, a baby.
Yeah.
And going back to, like, those, kind of those voices, like, I've had a lot of people speak over me and say a lot over me since I was, like, a wee lad. That it was like they they had no idea of knowing that, like, and it's just continued. Like, even my mom, like so Angel Rene, right? Like, that's not a stage name. Like, that's on my birth certificate. And the word Renee is actually the French word for reborn.
Okay.
So quite literally,
Your
like
name is
Angel
Angel
Rene
Reborn.
is like a messenger of God born again.
No, okay.
You know, and I feel like I've dealt with a lot, ton of family stuff that I've had to deal with, lost friends, just all, you know, a ton of stuff that could be considered a low, you know. But I feel like no one gets to choose the deck of cards that they get. No one gets to choose, you know, what they're handed. But in a lot of ways, like, I feel as if I'm so immensely, like, blessed, and I feel like so immensely grateful for all that it's happened. Even having the tenacity to believe that I can step out of my shit is a gift, because there are some that don't even have that.
I feel it.
And there's a saying, you're born looking like your parents, but you die looking like your decisions. And I feel like when really tough seasons of life come, you know, like, there's a part of me that is learning how to just keep going, man, keep up and keep on. Like, I've lost, one of the really hard things about this current season, in the last year, like, I've lost like 3 really major friendships. I'm a big relational guy. So, like, friends are like they're the air that I breathe. Like, friends, I don't know how my friends don't get annoyed at me, because I'll just call randomly and be like, what you doing? Like, hang out random. I love friends. I love my friends. And so this year when I lost these friendships, like, it like crushed me, man. Like, it like crushed me. And I feel like it almost ruined my ability to, like, trust anyone or anything. Like, and I was just like, what am I even doing this for? Why am I still in church? Why am I, you know, like, what? And as I'm processing through that, and as I'm like healing and growing, like, I'm learning, going back to those rules and all of that. I'm learning, like, if I go into relationships, if I go into music, if I go into school and pre-law and hoping to be an attorney one day, like, if I go into all of these things with an agenda, with a certain, like, I need this to be this way, or I need this relationship to look like this, or I need I'm just going to be disappointed every time.
I gotcha.
And so going into whatever, no longer as a means to an end, but an end in and of itself, like, it has just let me go. It's just freed me. It's liberated me. And so I feel like that, in a way, has restored my relationship with art. Yeah. Because, like, I feel like I'm learning how to take it seriously, but take it less seriously. And in taking it less seriously, I feel like I'm able to let it breathe. No longer needing it to blow up, or needing it to whatever, reach a certain or whatever. Like, I feel like I'm just, like, learning how to just let things be what they are, and learning to accept things and meet them where they are, as they meet me where I am and who I am. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Gotcha. So if you're talking, like, because, you know, obviously, if you live life with a bunch of expectations and all that stuff, it kind of setting out and needing things to pan out a specific way, you're correct. You set yourself up for disappointment. But most of the time, things don't go according to your plans.
They can.
But not all
the time.
But yeah, it's like, I've lived a life where it's like, my wife cracks me up, because I told her, I was like, yeah, when I was 22, or by the time I was like, when I was in my 20s, I said by the time I was 22 years old, I wanted to be married. I wanted a new car, and I wanted to have a different and a better job than what I was doing.
Yeah.
And, like, I was blessed enough to achieve every single one of those things in there, all by the time I was 21 years old. By the time I was 22 years old. It was like, and, like, I wasn't even dating anybody when at that time. And so now we've been together for 8 years, or over 8 years, but we've been married for about 8 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, shoot, man. It was funny. So when I tell her, I was like, this was the plan that I had or whatever like that, what I wanted, whatever like that. She was like, oh, wow, hey, that's crazy. But there's also things where it's like, hey, I would like to do this, whether it be my work or what I saw myself doing when I got out of college, where that completely changed as time went on. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm here for the ride. It's like, that's kind of the approach that I take for things now. It's like, obviously, you know, as a father and as a husband or whatever like that, I can't be too willy-nilly. I don't have the luxury of just saying, I'm going to try this now. Yeah. It's like, nah, you got to have some type of plan. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. It's like, hey, you're here for the ride. If you approach things with a fresh perspective, then you leave yourself you know, room for that growth and for those new opportunities. Yeah. So that's a great thing to do. Would you say you have anything that, or do you have anything that you could pass down knowledge, I'll put it that way, or pass out knowledge, not down, but pass out knowledge of experiences or anything like that that may have changed the way that you approach situations, that maybe an upcoming artist that may kind of be, I don't know, scared or considering, you know, taking the leap and say, hey, I want to be a musician or whatever. I want to put out my own project, but I don't know if I really want to do that because, you know, art and when an artist puts out something, it's very vulnerable space to be in. And so, you know, sometimes people can get hung up on that. Yeah. What would you say to somebody that's up and coming?
Well, I'm up and coming.
Yeah. But you're here on the podcast. but you've made it further than some people wouldn't have made it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, for someone that wants to be a musician, if you play music, you're a musician.
I got you.
For someone that wants to put out a project, if you make a song and you put it out, you are someone you are officially a recording artist. For someone that wants to be a performing artist, if you go in a coffee shop and you sing, you are officially a performing artist. Yeah. There are no tiers to a better artist or a worse artist. Is Whitney Houston better than Radiohead? You know, there's no
it's different.
You know, and I feel like being I don't know. I think that's just helped me. Like, I sound like a broken record, bro. But those rules, I went into. I remember years ago, like I thought the idea of being a successful musician or a successful artist meant that I was selling out arenas or that I was, you know, had a certain amount of numbers.
But that all depends on what you deem as success.
That's what I'm saying. And once I like recognize like, oh, success doesn't exactly mean that for me, you know?
So what does success mean for you? What does success mean for you?
Music or everything?
Let's go with music. Question. Let's start off with music.
Music. Success is listening. So being a good listener, like being able to listen to artists and listen to what they want and meet them where they are. I feel like listening to truth. Yeah. Like I feel like truth is like everywhere. Like there's always inspiration, like everywhere. And if like the better you get at like listening for it, like I feel like the easier that flow comes. And so I feel like success is that. I feel like success for me is sensitivity. I used to be a very sensitive kid, but just through like emotional abuse and a ton of other things, like there was like a hardening that happened. But I can always tell when I'm at my healthiest because I'm more sensitive. Like I'm very sensitive to my emotions. I'm very sensitive to like art and how things make me feel and everything. And so I think success is a great sensitivity to like the people around me, to conversations and everything. And I think consistency is success to me. Getting into a flow, like a rhythm where it's like I'm not demanding anything to happen, but I am doing my part and being a good steward of it. Being a good steward of, you know, working hard and doing my best with the music and doing my best to play it and make it well. And
I gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's success.
That's what success is.
Music for me.
I get you.
Yeah.
That's a interesting perspective on success. My perception or perspective on success is kind of more typical. Yeah,
That's okay.
There's elements to it that do come from because like the goal of this platform that we're building with Icon Presents is to highlight creatives and all that kind of stuff. Everything that I do in my life, like I used to say this all the time, I can't stop until I'm a millionaire. And the thing is it's not because personally I want millions of dollars personally.
Okay.
But for me, it's about the things that I can do if I would have that. The reason, give you an example. One of the things I hate hearing is that I can't do this because of financial reasons, right?
Yeah, I get that.
If somebody has a vision or wants to take a chance on something or wants to do something, but they're restricted by monetary reasons, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I look at, and I'm like, if I could eliminate that, not in a sense like I'm not God and I'm like, hey, I will be your provider, that type of thing.
Sure.
For that, but I'm like, hey, God, you want to use me? Bless me, and I'll bless your people. And they're like, hey, it is what it is, and it's like that's what I would love if I can build Icon Presents to where it's it's a brand and it's a platform built big enough where any creative that wants, like, there's a service tab on the website. It's like, hey, these are the things that we are doing to help amplify creatives.
Yeah.
That right there allows us to be successful. And because it takes money to make money, and you got to put out things, and everybody can't take the approach of like, oh no, we're just going to do this for free. No. Somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay the rent. Somebody got to pay the gas bill and all that kind of stuff. So you want to eliminate that. That's one of those things for me that is like. But I can, excuse me. I can always appreciate the various perspectives that it comes to how people approach their goals.
Yeah,
and the way that they approach those things that matter the most to them.
Yeah,
is it tells you a lot about a person.
Yeah,
because you have those people that are just like, yo, I can't wait till I get my Lambo.
Yeah,
can't do it. I have zero desire for that.
Yeah,
and it's like I don't even like. It's funny because I was talking to one guest and we were talking about like I don't particularly care for the city. Like if I had it my way, I'd live in kind of in more so suburban kind of area where it's just like me, man, perfect life for me is on a cul-de-sac with me, my parents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins and all that kind of stuff. A cul-de-sac where everybody can live. Call it a cult, call it whatever you want, but I want those people. I don't care. I'm like, I'll surround myself with those people that are typically more like-minded and all that kind of stuff where I ain't got to deal with no weirdos that I don't feel like dealing with. Like, man, that'll be amazing if I can just do that. Obviously, that's not reality, but it's like, yo, like that's what I really like. And then go into the city and do things when I need to.
Sure.
But I'm married with 2 kids. I'm not trying to be out there busy. So when COVID happened, I was chilling at home.
Okay.
I was like, yeah,
come on.
But I understand that, for some people, their livelihoods were completely stripped away from them. I had Katie Ferreira in this on the podcast, and she was talking about how, show after show after show, canceled. That was her entire livelihood. And so, then you're sitting there, you're like, I'm chilling at home, but then she's looking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
My work gone.
Exactly. So it becomes a very, it becomes a very sensitive issue. Kind of stuff there. And it really upsets people, when you see things coming out these days. It's like, hey, we didn't need to do this. Or, hey, guess what? Those people that we canceled and said that they weren't right about this, turns out they were actually right. It's like, what? I got fired over this. Yeah. That type of thing. You see that so often these days, and it really drives people crazy. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because that's a rabbit hole. Man, we talk about a rabbit hole. I can go down that rabbit hole.
Everyone's definition of success is different.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So it's like,
I get that.
The as you grow, what do you see yourself doing? Like, give me your short-term goal and then long-term goal. Where do you see it?
I mean, man, I don't think you're gonna like my answer, but I feel like it's the same things, man. I've let go, I mean, I have plans. I hope so. I hope to apply to a really cool school. I hope to get into that school. I hope to complete this album and finish it up. I hope to play more shows, even though I've been doing a lot of shows, and hope to write with more people and serve more people, through production or, getting to know other people. But
I don't know how I wouldn't like that answer.
Well, no. But I'm saying is those are, I want all those things, but I want like above all of those things, like just to get so overwhelmingly good at just listening and accepting whatever the current of life is that I'm on. Like even with, we just talked about success, right? Like I think I've just for so many years in my life, like I went into success, like forcing it to look a certain way or forcing it to, and there's a balance between that because like, like going to Nashville and finding a producer, there was a clear, like, this is what this would be successful, but also I feel like my short and long-term goal is like accepting, had I not have found a producer in that trip, it would have not been a waste. And I feel like looking at life, looking at music, looking at school, like those are my goals, to like grow in that and just be as present as humanly possible.
I got you. So you would like the opportunity essentially to change your perspective, because you said that you were, you go to Nashville, you're taking this risk and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have liked it to be an absolute waste, because there's a possibility that you go out there and it's not fruitful for you at all.
Sure.
And you come back and you like,
not the fruit that I wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's
fruit,
fruit,
obviously there's lessons in everything. As my dad would tell me, you don't fail. You kind of just, unless you give up, that's the only chance that you fail. But you
learn a way not to do it.
Exactly, you learn lessons and take those things and experiences and kind of build up.
Yeah.
But then if you don't want to be, you kind of want to adapt to. It's like, hey, this is my perspective on these, and allow that to grow with you.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that. I love it. So let's talk shows. What kind of shows are you on to next?
Oh, the good kind. I don't know. I mean,
what you got planned going on in the future?
Okay. So short term, got a soda bar show coming up pretty soon. Lots of shows in release months. So October, November, December, playing quite a bit. Just, trying to show people the song and just making a ton of friends. I feel like I've been doing so many so far shows and I've made so many friends through that. Like, and from, I feel like those relationships is going like, oh, why don't you play here? Why don't you sing with me here? And so it's been, but lots of shows coming up that I'm really excited about.
Got you. So how can the people support you?
Listen to the song when it comes out.
Okay.
All the things. Follow me on Gram, the socials, all of that good stuff.
Give them your socials. What's your social?
Angel Rene Wilson, my full name.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe there will be a bar or something on the bottom. Yeah. If you wanna hang out, follow me there. All my stuff is there. My music will be there. Come out to a show, say hello. Say hello. That's the part I care about the most. But I just love making friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else you want to leave with the people as we wrap up?
I love you. I don't know. I don't know. Come hang out, man. Yeah. Come hang out. I really hope you like this song. I like this song a lot. Every time I play it, people say that they really like it. October is when the song's coming out. And I don't know. How do people close these things? I don't know.
I got it. I'll take it from here. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Yeah.
It's been great. It's been great connecting with you, talking with you and everything. Again, what was the name of the song? Everywhere?
Everywhere in Between.
Everywhere in Between. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Icon Presents. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, follow Angel Rene on Instagram. Check out the song Everywhere in Between. Thank you so much. We could not do this without you, your creators, the audience, and everybody. We love it. Check out iconpresentspodcast.com for updates. If you want to be featured on the show, just go to iconpresentspodcast.com and send us a message and we'll connect. Again, thank you so much. Y'all take care.